Yes, Chair.
That's better. Now turn the mic on. So, again, officially call the meeting to order at 5:02. We'll start with roll call led by Chandler, and then we'll go right into our Pledge of Allegiance.
Chair Rogers,
Present.
Vice Chair Turner Whiteley,
Present.
Secretary Foyt,
Present.
Treasurer Dudkowski,
Present.
Trustee Jones, Trustee Sanchez,
Here.
Trustee Williams Jr.,
Present.
Trustee Fiedler,
Present.
and Trustee Profit.
Present.
Chair, a quorum is present.
Thank you. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. What direction? Over here? All right. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Chandler, do we have anyone sign up for public comment?
There was a single public comment submitted earlier by Bridget Prosale Garces, but there are no additional public comments.
Thank you, and I guess we will put that public comment in the minutes for this meeting. Thank you. We will call for board action to accept the proposed agenda. We have a motion?
I do so move. I'll second.
All right, do we have any comment? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will move to agenda item 4, approval of the proposed minutes. And we can just do those together. We're looking at the regular Board of Trustees meeting minutes for March 12th, 2026, as well as the special board meeting of trustees meeting held on March 25th, 2026. Do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I do so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comment, questions? All right, hearing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We will move to the chair's report, and my report will be brief. The two items that I want to talk about is item 1. Several of myself included, Trustee Karen Dukowski and Trustee Elizabeth Foyt, we were able to attend the Public Library Association conference in Minneapolis. While it was cold, but it was very worthwhile to be there, and some of the sessions that I attended, and then also just talking with a lot of the vendors who we do business with here, as well as our fellow librarians in large metropolitan areas and those in rural communities. It just cemented how important the work that we're doing here in Las Vegas and how we are revered in the library community. And it didn't help that, we were with the celebrity librarian of the year, so that came with a lot of, I would tell everyone I'm just part of his entourage here in Minneapolis. But in seriousness, the work that we do is so important, not just in our local community, but also those other communities that look to us as a trailblazer and champion and innovator in this library space. And so I just want to thank all the library team members. I know Kelvin gets a lot of the accolades, but I know that, and he always talks about it really being a team effort, all hands on deck. All the staff who we all hire staff to do a specific role, specific function, and when everyone performs that role, we're able to realize tremendous success and gains and all the accolades that follow that. And we know that everyone contributes in their own unique way, but I just want to personally say thank you for all that you all do, and know that the library community nationally understands, appreciates, and leans on us for a lot of support. So continue to do the great work that you're doing. And in that space, I'll open up to see if my fellow trustees who were also at the conference would like to share any feedback that they have from the conference before I move on to my second item.
I'd be glad to. I was honored to be able to attend. It was very interesting to speak to so many librarians, as Keith said, across the assemblage of people that were there. And I think there were about 6,000 people total for that, considering the weather was really very different than here. it rained, it snowed, it was sleeted, it did all kinds of interesting. It was still raining when I left. Hard, cold rain. A lot of the programs that were offered or the sessions that I attended, they were either featuring things that it turned out we're already doing or have passed over and said, maybe that's not a good fit for us. I mean, they're ground we had already covered. One of the most interesting sessions I went to, because I was really curious about, it was service dogs in the library. This is something that I think is across the community, not just our community, but across America, that we're seeing animals in places where before they were restricted. And two of the things that the woman brought home, who was the presenter, she is a public librarian, and she's in a wheelchair, and she also has a service dog, but the dog has been through its full training and never leaves her side. But the two questions that she brought forth that are very neutral in their nature, I believe, that you can ask a patron as they're entering with what they're calling a service dog is, what work or task has the dog been trained to perform? That's question one. And question two, is the dog a service animal and required because of a disability? If there's a faltering in the responses, then further policy from the individual library. But it kind of brought home, the issue that comes forth, and one never knows, is the dog housebroken? Is the dog trained to be kindly towards others or show aggression, and so on? Anyway, that was one of the more interesting things, as well as the legal one, talking about books being challenged, how to get your book club on the radio. There was another one about getting rid of your bookmobile and instead bringing people to the library. I thought that would be very interesting. As it turned out, they ended up getting a partnership with a charity that provides them a shuttle bus. And yes, it does come to the library, but it goes lots of other places as well, that basically very small town type level service. We could never approach it. But they did say that if we ever had a shuttle, or we might want to follow in their footsteps, their shuttle driver is a registered nurse. So if there's ever any health problems while they're on board, there you go. Anyway, I enjoyed my conference. Very interesting, very intriguing. Didn't see much of Minneapolis at all, but enjoyed the skywalks, which are attached to the hotels, and walk to the conference for that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Just a couple of words. I want to thank for the opportunity to go to such a conference. It was very enlightening. I've been to professional conferences before, not library associated, and the difference was overwhelmingly more pleasant. Everyone seemed to just be so helpful and willing to share your ideas, your successes, your failures. It's just very heartwarming to see all of these individuals that I know are treating their patrons the same way whenever they are in the libraries that they serve. So just appreciate it so much. So much to learn, so much to inhale. Could not possibly. There were events and programs, presentations that I couldn't go to that were at the same time. So there were different. It's really hard to make a decision what to go to, but I really enjoyed the time there. I like colder weather, so it didn't bother me too much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. And, in closing out the PLA sort of updates from our experience, I'll just say, it was great seeing some of the team members Dr. Dean and Mr. Cervico and the other team members that were tabling in the career section. So hopefully we got a lot of new talent that may be interested in positions that are here in Las Vegas. And then also just what I was drawn to was the advancements and what's on the horizon in artificial intelligence that's coming into the libraries. It's an exciting time, exciting space, and I know different organizations are at different places in terms of like adoption of artificial intelligence and how they're propagating it throughout their organization. So, some of the things that we were exposed to there, I'm excited to see how some of those things might be incorporated here. I know we do have a few projects that we're piloting and looking forward to hearing the presentation a little bit later in our agenda today. And the last part is I know I have to be able to get my rest up. The librarians go hard every night, so I have to get my energy level up when I go to the next conference. But it was a great experience. The second thing I want to talk to with the board in my update is just walking the board through. We know we have our executive director's evaluation approaching, and so I just wanted to sort of verbally sort of walk the timeline. And for May's meeting, we'll definitely make sure that that the timeline is part of the attachment. So you don't have to write anything down. Everything will be provided to you in a document for the next board meeting. But, in the April meeting, this is where we just remind our executive director that to complete the self-assessment that we would then use to do the evaluation along with our own observations of his work. Also, at the May-June meeting is when each board member will be able to write their notes down in terms of their responses in our closed session. The July board meeting, we will submit agenda items for the Board of Trustees meeting. It will be a closed session during the July meeting where we will be able to walk through and provide all of our respective feedback, comments, and then we would then sort of pool those responses to determine what the ratings are. And then also at the meeting, we'll come out of the closed session and then we'll just discuss the outcome of the evaluation. And then also we will take a final vote on what the performance ratings for compensation adjustments for the next fiscal year goals. So those are sort of the high level steps, but the key thing is there's going to be discussion in the May meeting about the process. It'll be laid out in the document, and then the June and July meetings are where we'll do a lot of the work. So that's sort of the main cadence there, takeaway. But I want to just make sure to alert the board members. Certainly, if your schedule permits you to participate in person, the May, June, July meeting would be appreciated to be able to fully participate in all the discussions and the documentation as we talk through the evaluation process and ultimate evaluation of the executive director. And then the next item is the foundation meeting. I'm not sure if we have anyone here from the foundation present. I don't see Chair Felipe Lopez. But the board was able to vote and approve the agreement as presented. I don't know if we've heard back from their board in terms of their response to that, but it's in their hands at the moment in terms of what the revised agreement will look like between the library and the foundation. So with that said, that concludes my chair's report. I will now move to agenda item number 6, which is the library reports presented by Executive Director Watson.
Thank you, Chair Rogers. Also, we want to, for the record, recognize that Trustee Asha Jones has joined us as well. So I have presented my Executive Director's report for my monthly activities through March. Pretty active, doing a lot of traveling here, both locally as well as nationally. Had the opportunity to present as part of the convening in Washington, D.C. To our congressional delegation. We've had some follow-up meetings with them, including Senator Cortez Masto coming to visit the West Las Vegas Library. Actually, yesterday there was a meeting with Congresswoman Susie Lee and Congressman Stephen Horsford. They had a meeting, a convening, and actually a town hall at the West Las Vegas Library as well. So really getting to see a lot of our congressional delegation in the last few months, and I know that I'll continue to see them, especially during our Customer Appreciation Week. We've already been reached out to by Congresswoman Dina Titus's office. So I know Elizabeth, would like to hear that. So she's going to be visiting some of our libraries then. I also had the opportunity to participate in the Nevada Reading Week, and just doing a lot of, meetings and conversations, expanding our programs and services. And I'll touch briefly on, as Dr. Rogers, Chair Rogers shared, our AI plan, which was something that was asked of me and the library team to present, as we similarly did with the strategic playbook, as part of my evaluation last year. So that's what we'll be hearing, is the plan that we've put together and some of the pilot programs that we're going to be launching. So I'll take any questions at this time from the board regarding my activity report as presented.
All right, I'll open up the mic to our fellow trustees to see if there are any reports that you want to call, or you have questions regarding, or have any of the managers of those respective areas come to the podium. So that said, I'll open up the mic.
This is Elaine Sanchez. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Trustee Sanchez.
Regarding the pilot programs, how long do those last?
So we haven't identified how long the pilot programs will last, but in the plan we've laid out a 5-year plan. So as things come into fruition, we'll certainly be updating the board via our reports on what is actually being implemented and what has not been implemented.
Thank you.
Trustee Fiedler?
Yeah, sorry. No one needs to come forward, but I just want to commend the West Charleston Assistant Branch Manager, Nikki Ember. I saw that she's supervising a UNLV Project Focus intern. At UNLV, we have a program for intellectually and developmentally disabled adults to go and have a meaningful educational, social, and employment prep experience. And I think bringing on one of those students as an intern is a lot of work, and it's a really commendable choice to make, and I was just really stoked to see that happening here in the library district.
Thank you.
I have a question. I noticed in Leo's report that Sahara West now has a legal kiosk. Do we have more kiosks on the horizon? And that sounds wonderful.
Leo Segura, Library Operations Director for the record. Thank you, Treasurer. Yes, we do have one at Sahara West. It's not brand new there. The brand new is we moved one from Laughlin to West Las Vegas because the one in Laughlin wasn't getting a lot of use, and they're able to assist customers with their laptop in a study room similarly. Our legal kiosks do offer free printing, and then we've been partnering with the Justice Department to service the youth camp on Mount Charleston, and they're also involved with the kiosks. We have them, I think there's one here, where's Gloria? Yeah, East Vegas, yeah. It's like 6 of them across town.
That's great.
Mesquite, Whitney, Clark County here. But Sahara West is the one of the original ones.
Thank you.
And we'll also share with the board a video that was made by actually a contact that Trustee Sanchez put us in contact with, and that's how we actually started the youth camp
The
support.
partnership with the
So I
Spring
wanted
Mountain
to
Youth
just share that with the board as well, and with Trustee Sanchez.
All right, the mic is still open for any fellow trustees who would like to make any comments or speak to any of the reports, the library reports.
The summer program, the summer reading program, looks like the paperwork is, you've created the theme. Am I correct? Branding and marketing. Looks charming. Looks like fun. Yeah, and your team, your whole team for that. I think it'll be very successful for that. And I know Matt is always involved with the I was going to say the feeding, but that's not the correct thing. The food program, the lunch program, that type of thing that interfaces with it. Very nice.
All right, that concludes that agenda item. We'll close it, so we will move to agenda item 7. There's
You have to
nothing
accept the
under-
reports.
Oh, thank you, Councilman Welp. Do we have a motion to accept the library reports as presented?
So moved, Trustee
So
Jones.
moved.
All right, we have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we can go to unfinished business. Agenda item 7, we have no items for unfinished business. We will go to agenda item number 8, new business. And we will move first to consent agenda to discuss and possible board action to appoint the West Las Vegas Library Qualic B Incorporated Board of Directors. Do we have any questions there? Do we need to call, I think Floresto is chairing that on our behalf, so I don't know if there were any questions for Floresto. If not, we can call for the question. Well, I guess we can call for the motion, I should say. All right, do we have a motion to approve the West Las Vegas Qualic B Incorporated Board of Directors?
I'll make that motion.
Can I do that? I'm following.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
So moved by
So moved.
by Trustee Duκasy. Do we have a second?
A second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will go to our regular agenda items that we'll take one at a time. We will start with the Library District's Digital Literacy Artificial Intelligence Utilization Plan, and this is presentation only. Thank you, Dr. Dean.
Thank you. Just want to test it out real quick. Okay. All right. Chair Dr. Rogers, Executive Director Watson, and members of the board, thank you for your time. For the record, I'm Rosalind Dean, Business Strategies and Planning Director. This evening, I'm presenting the Library District's Digital Literacy AI Utilization Plan, a 5-year roadmap that guides how the Library District will responsibly and strategically integrate artificial intelligence into our operations and public service. This plan directly supports the direction of Playbook 2031 by strengthening digital equity, modernizing internal operations, and ensuring the Library District remains an essential future-ready public institution. At its core, this is not a technology plan. It is a people-centered plan. It focuses on empowering staff, enhancing customer digital literacy experiences, and ensuring AI is used ethically, securely, and transparently. In cooperation with IT Director Robert O'Brien, research was conducted to develop a plan that best serves the Library District, staff, and the community. The vision of this plan is to responsibly introduce AI tools, primarily Microsoft Copilot, into select operations and service areas to improve efficiency, decision-making, and customer experience. Implementation will be anchored in Microsoft 365 as our primary AI ecosystem. A key enabling step is the transition from a hybrid exchange environment to a secure cloud-only Microsoft 365 platform. We will implement AI incrementally with strong governance, clear accountability, and measurable outcomes such as time saved, error reduction, and improved staff and customer satisfaction. This ensures AI adoption delivers real value and aligns with the Library District's mission. A primary factor in selecting Microsoft 365 AI ecosystem
was its commitment to responsible AI development, including use of water efficiency or water efficient cloud infrastructure and investments in water conservation and replenishment initiatives. These efforts support Microsoft's goal of becoming water positive by 2030. At the time of our research, no other AI platform had established a comparable water positive commitment. And the side of that is not necessarily, some are doing the conservation, but Microsoft is doing the replenishment. So that's the added bonus. The plan is guided by 5 core principles. First, customer first and staff-centric design. AI will support, not replacement, but human expertise. It will support, not replace, human expertise. Second, security and privacy by design. Implementation will follow least privilege access, data minimization, and auditable control to protect sensitive information. Third, compliance and ethics align with Nevada revised statutes and the ethical standards of librarianship. Fourth, open governance with transparent decision-making and clearly defined roles. Finally, measurable value using data-driven metrics to continuously improve and refine how AI is used across the district. This roadmap transitions the district from a fragmented technology environment to a secure, cloud-first, AI-enabled ecosystem. Key implementation actions include migrating to Exchange Online, establishing Intra-ID for cloud-based identity management, enforcing conditional access, multi-factor authentication, and privileged identity management. Device management will be standardized using Intune and Defender for endpoint, while data governance will mature through Microsoft Purview, enabling sensitive labels, data loss prevention, retention, and audit capabilities. Copilot for Microsoft 365 will be deployed to staff in phases. With usage monitoring, guardrails, customers will have controlled access to free Copilot tools on public compute PCs to support digital literacy. Year 1 focuses on organizational readiness. Implementation actions include launching Microsoft Learn-based AI literacy training for staff, conducting AI readiness awareness sessions, creating an internal AI readiness playbook. An AI Champions program will be established, training staff across departments to model responsible AI use and support peers. From a technical perspective, we will migrate mailboxes, secure access, enroll devices, and deploy endpoint protection. A cross-functional AI governance framework will be drafted, addressing ethics, privacy, equity, and transparency. Select low risk pilot projects will be used to demonstrate early value. And again, to reiterate what was said earlier, the pilot projects have not begun. They're potential projects, subject to change just depending on how rollout happens. In year 2, we expand pilots and formally introduce Copilot for Microsoft 365 to select departments. Implementation includes piloting Copilot in administration, public services, IT, and HR, public programming and education for customers, applying data loss prevention and audit controls for Copilot interactions. Departments will test targeted use cases such as predictive maintenance, budget forecasting, trend analysis, and enhanced catalog search. Each department will receive AI toolkits and scorecards to guide responsible use and measure outcomes. Year 3 through 5 focuses on scaling and institutionalizing AI. Year 3 introduces predictive analysis and Copilot Studio pilots. Year 4 emphasizes integrated dashboards and shared knowledge hubs to access, share, and collaborate on documents, data, and other information. Year 5 formalizes AI as a managed service, reassesses licensing, and expands capabilities. Governance, monitoring, and compliance will be automated where possible, and the library district will benchmark externally, positioning itself as a national leader in ethical AI use in libraries. Strong governance ensures responsible implementation. Roles include data owners, AI champions, and an AI governance committee. Policies and guidelines will cover AI use, data classification, procurement, and acceptable use. Staff training will precede deployment, and feedback loops will ensure continuous improvement. Personally identifiable information will only be used within approved Microsoft 365 services with strict controls, encryption, and audit logging. Ethical principles, transparency, accountability, fairness, and human-centered design are foundational. Each department will have clearly defined AI use cases and guardrails. AI will support analytics, forecasting, search, and workflow efficiencies, but it will be mandatory in each department that final decisions remain human. This ensures innovation while preserving professional judgment, equity, and accountability. All staff will receive ongoing AI literacy training with role-specific modules and annual refreshments. Transparency will be maintained through internal communication and public reporting. Feedback mechanisms will allow staff to raise concerns, and outdated systems will be retired through sunset policies. Accountability is shared. The executive director holds overall responsibility. The AI governance committee oversees compliance and risk. Department directors ensure ethical use. Staff adhere to policies and report concerns. Annual reviews will assess systems, vendors, and outcomes. In closing, the Digital Literacy AI Utilization Plan provides a responsible, mission-aligned roadmap for integrating AI in ways that strengthen our workforce, enhance customer experience, and protect public trust. By investing in governance, training, and measured implementation, we ensure AI amplifies human expertise and advances the Library District's Playbook 2031 vision. As a reminder, the Digital Literacy AI Utilization Plan is a living document. The governance framework is intended to provide flexibility and allow ongoing adjustments as the organization continues to grow and learn. Thank you. And I'll bring up also Robert O'Brien just in case you have any questions that are his area. Any questions?
All right, thank you for that thorough presentation, and I'll open up the mic to my fellow trustees to see if there are any comments, questions, concerns relative to the presentation. All right, I counted 3 Mississippis. All right.
Thank you.
So I would say great presentation, and it's refreshing to sort of see through the presentation how intentional we're being and leaning in fully into this AI space. We know that it's emerging, changing rapidly, but at least to sort of plant our flag somewhere as a starting point, and to know that it is going to be a learning process all around, but at least to say we're going to make the effort to introduce our staff to these efficiencies and opportunities offered through artificial intelligence, as well as making it accessible for our end users who frequent us for those resources. And then the thing that resonated most with me is using it responsibly. You know, that's the key thing that we talk about as we propagate it, and we always talk at our university about sort of we doing it in a more of a contagion way, where we just want, you know, end users and staff, faculty, students to sort of experiment with it and see what's the best uses for it in their unique cases and as they approach their work and doing other things, but just really being responsible. So it's glad to see that you all have this outlined so thoroughly, and certainly looking forward to hearing more about our advancements and adjustments to the plan as we learn together. We will move to our second agenda item for consideration, discussion and possible board action regarding contract award to furnish labor, materials, and equipment to complete the roofing replacement in the Spring Valley Library.
Good evening, everyone. John Vino, General Services Director. General Services does have a project that was bid out, and funds are allocated in the capital project funds for replacement of the roof at the Spring Valley Library. The roof is in need of repair due to the age and functionality deficiencies. I believe it's about 22 years old now. We did advertise in the Review Journal. It was posted on the district's website, emailed to Minority Chamber of Commerce, and posted on Nevada Government e-Marketplace. The bid opening was held on March 20th, 2026, and we did receive a total of 2 bids. The bid results were as follows: Weston Single Ply, $418,500, and A.W. Farrell and Sons, $423,400. We did determine they were both valid bids, and the lowest responsive and responsible bidder was Weston Single Ply. We've included the disclosure of ownerships form as well. So we do request a motion to authorize staff to award a contract for the roof replacement of the Spring Valley Library to Weston Single Ply in the amount of $418,500, subject to final review by General Counsel. Happy to answer any questions on the project.
Open it up for any comments or questions from our trustees. All right, hearing none. Do we have a motion? Does one want to make the motion? Any of our trustees?
I'll make a motion to authorize staff to award a contract for the roof replacement of the Spring Valley Library to Western Single Ply in the amount of $418,500, subject to final review by General Counsel.
All right, do we have a second?
I second the motion.
All right, motion's been made and properly second. Is there any questions? All right, hearing none, we will go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, we will move to our next agenda item, discussion and possible board action regarding the contract award to furnish labor, materials, and equipment to complete the theater speaker replacement as specified in the bid documents. And we have Mr. Vino,
Yes.
Mr. Vito, to lead us in that.
General Services, along with TPS, has been working on this actually for quite a few years now. It's a little of an odyssey to try to get this to this point. But funds are allocated in the capital projects funds for replacement of theater speakers in the Summerlin Library Theater. The equipment is needed to replace due to age and functionality deficiencies. We did advertise the bid in the RJ. It was posted on the district websites, emailed to Minority Chamber of Commerce, and posted in the Nevada Government e-Marketplace. We received no bids at that time. This was about a year or so ago. We did have a good turnout. It was a little bit surprising. But pursuant to NRS 338.143, a public body may let a contract without further bidding if no bids were received in response to an advertised bid. As required, the district did advertise our intent to let the contract in the Review Journal. At that point, we reached out to directly to other contractors, and TPS was successful with a vendor that we've worked with for quite a few years and are quite familiar with, and worked through the project. The project is somewhat complicated in the sense that we're buying, not only buying speakers, it includes rigging, it includes quite a bit of wiring, work in the in their booth. So Solitech, very competent company. We're very pleased that we were able to find someone willing to take the project on. And their bid, as it's a public works prevailing wage project, so we had to go through getting it certified, and we've done that. And they did provide a competitive bid in the amount of $187,038.91. So at this time, we're requesting a motion to authorize staff to award said contract for the replacement of theater speakers in the Summerlin Library to Solitech USA in the amount of $187,038.91, subject to final review again by General Counsel.
All right. Do we have any questions of Mr. Vito concerning this agenda item? I just have one question related to the no response. Do you have any ideas regarding the low interest?
We had a lot of interest. I think it was the complexity of the project.
Okay.
It had rigging, like I mentioned. It's just you know. So it's just a complicated project.
Okay. Thank you for that. Do we have a trustee willing to make the motion?
So moved. This is Elaine Sanchez.
Second.
Well, let's just read it just to make sure we have it. So I know Mr. Vito, he read it, but I'll just read it and then we'll do that again. Motion to authorize staff to award a contract for replacement of theater speakers in the Summerlin Library to Solotech US Incorporated in the amount of $187,038.91, subject to final review by General Counsel. Now we can start with the motion and, the second. So,
I'll second.
Thank you, Chair Rogers.
thank you. I know Trustee Sanchez made the motion, seconded by Trustee Ford. Any questions before we call for the question? All right, hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vino.
All right, just getting back to the place. All right, we will move to agenda item 9, executive session. There is no executive session today. I'm always happy when we don't have to go to executive session. We will open up for any of our trustees if there are any announcements before I read the announcements.
I would like to say one thing that I
Yes.
left out of my PLA report. Mr. Serpico was wonderful. I think he was everywhere, and I always had him, he was closing in on people that were very interested in coming to work for our district. And he was a one-man PR machine the entire time he was there. And when the rest of us ran across people, we kind of herded them in his direction. But there was always a nice cluster around the table that he presided over in the career section for that. Number 230. Thank you.
All right, any other announcements? Now, just keeping with the theme of Trustee Ford, one of the things, too, going back to the PLA conference, I know that when people were like, you're one of the trustees and you're at the conference, so that was something that was an anomaly, it appears. So I just want to commend my fellow trustees who made the trip and know that, in the library community, it was very appreciated to see us there representing, all the trustees across all the libraries across the country, that, there is an interest among trustees in the work of the library and going to the conference. I appreciate all the encouragement from Kelvin to always encourage all the trustees, if it fits in your schedule, to try to attend the conference, because it really just provides more insight to just how complex library operations are. So as someone who did not go to library school, who has, very little expertise in libraries, it was just very eye-opening. This is my second conference I've been to, and every time I go to one, it just reinforces how little I know about libraries, right? And the importance of, having a great executive director who has a great team to lead, the work, and sort of reminded me of the role as trustees, more of the governance, and so it was just eye-opening to just sort of reinforce that philosophy in my mind, and just thanking the fellow trustees. I know some of us have already committed to the ALA conference in Chicago, so looking forward to seeing you guys there and continuing to support all the important work that we do here in Clark County. So with that said, I'll just sort of run down, not all the announcements, but just our next meeting is going to be May 21st, 5 p.m. at the Windmill location, followed in June by our meeting June 11th at the Windmill location, and then lastly closing out in July at the Flamingo location. So again, we're just reminding board members, May, June, July, we'll have more conversations concerning the executive director's evaluation. So just, if you can make it in person, that would be much appreciated. And then again, in the board packet for May, the timeline that I sort of walk through verbally quickly will be in the board material. So you can sort of read through that more thoroughly, and we'll all be prepared. And then once we have Executive Director Watson's self-evaluation, that will also be shared with the board members as well. So with that said, I will go to Chandler and look to him to see if we have anyone sign up for public comment.
No, Chair, there is no one signed up for public comment.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Do we have a second? All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. We
Aye.
are officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone.